Thomas Bryce Wallen, my maternal grandfather, was born on December 16, 1942. He grew up in a Christian home and was a believer his whole life. As a young adult, Tommy joined the Navy and served a deployment in Japan. He married my grandmother Hazel on November 29, 1968. 2 years later, on September 26, 1970, my mom Heather was born. They later had 2 more daughters, Jill and Natasha. Tragically, on April 17th of 1985, my grandfather had a sudden heart attack during a regular day at work and passed away. My mother was 15 years old, her sisters were 7 and just a few months old. Since Grandpa Tommy died so many years before my sisters and I were born, even long before my parents were married, I never really knew a lot about him. Because my mom was so close to him, it's still hard for her to talk about him. But she shared 2 thoughts with me about the life and death of her father that have affected the way she lives her life, and in turn, how that's affected the lives of me and my sisters. The first is that he was always committed to his faith and an active member of the church. He served every week running lights and sound for the church service. He was also always in church plays or helped direct them. He even taught boys' Bible classes and helped run the church softball league. My mom carried on this legacy her father left by attending church every week and serving in many capacities. My mother pursued a degree in music education in college because of what she watched her father do while she was growing up. And for as long as I can remember, my mom has always directed our youth choirs for Leadership Training for Christ, a convention of churches of Christ across the country, as well as put together Christmas programs for the children of our church. And for as long as I can remember, she's taught children's Bible classes at church just like her dad. She's always quick to volunteer to serve in the church because she watched her dad do the same thing. This servant mentality has also influenced my life because I saw my mom living this way within the church community. I first became interested in education because of all the times I taught children's Bible classes at church with her. One other big thing about my grandfather that affected the legacy of our family is the fact that his death was so sudden. For most of the years I lived at home, my sisters and I would leave for school before my dad left for his workday. My mother always insisted that we go tell him goodbye before we left the house for the day, and I never really understood why. When asking my mom about her dad this week, she revealed to me that since he passed away suddenly at work, she didn't know that she would never see him again, so she didn't say goodbye to him that morning before she left for a normal day of her sophomore year of high school. His death brought about a new awareness in her life that the days that we have are precious, and that another day with the ones you love is never guaranteed. This realization had a lasting impact on her parenting style and in turn impacted my life. I hope that one day when I'm a parent, I will continue to prioritize the things that my Grandpa Tommy chose to dedicate his life to. I'm so thankful my mother carried on his legacy of faithfulness to the church and commitment to family so that I could learn the importance of these things. Although I never got to meet my grandfather, his legacy lives on, and I can't wait for the day when he's finally reunited with his 3 precious daughters and all of his grandchildren finally get to meet him face to face.